Sangeeta Kamath, who's asked what's happening to low-fee schools that cater to the working poor in cities. Will the too big to fail corporate chains with MNC investment be the ones to survive the pandemic, such as Byju's and many other educational technology systems?
Actually, from the, at least while the experience of the report, it is quite clear that the small fee charging unregulated schools also are part of the bandwagon of fee charging and exploitation. And the court order goes in favor of all these. The court order clearly says that the government has no authority to vitiate its own law. And so even they charge fees, and the poorer children who cannot go to online classes or can't pay those fees are rusticated, are taken out of those online classes. So it's not only the profit mongering is not limited only to multinationals, while they make the best of it, because every time you press a button in your mobile or computer, the IP companies make profit. That is one thing. And as far as things like Byju's are concerned, these are startups. Even now, they are not really making profit. But they will survive. One form or the other, they will survive, because they need to survive to keep the facade on of how online learning is beneficial. The TV ads that you see and the experience of child who actually uses those packages, I'm sure there needs to be more investigation in that.
In fact, I think your report points out that this low-fee schools quality of education is poor, because the report brings out the fact that the quality of education is not better than even government schools. So some of them are as bad as the publicly funded or government schools. So if you charge high fee, then you can pay better salary, then you can attract better teacher, and then quality of education can be better. They pay very low salary, and they attract very average people as a teachers. And the infrastructure also will not be good, because they don't collect huge fee. So infrastructure is poor, teachers are very average, and the child comes again from a poor background, and the education, again, quality of education is the almost same as that of public government schools, and not what you say that private schools are better than government schools. I think that entire propaganda has gone to a point that the entire government sector is condemned today. That the parents think that going to a government school is completely ruining the future of the child. I mean, the propaganda has gone to that point. I think how to retrieve the image of the government schools and how to really, attract, of course, the teachers' salaries are very good. I mean, Telangana teacher is paid so high, 60,000, 70,000. Salaries are very good. But entire budget that is given to the education goes to the salaries. And hardly they spend on the labs, library, infrastructure, and all that. So the poor, not that every private school is good, not that every private school gives quality education. I think that mythology has to be somewhere questioned.
In fact, there are a couple of people who've mentioned it's a larger question of how do we stop the corporate takeover of education or corporates entering the education sector. This is a couple of people have asked this question.
Well, we all know that education is not a sexy subject. It hasn't been for a long time. It's only with the privatization tightening news around the middle classes, particularly in higher education, and then finally, because the middle classes also sending their children to high paying schools, now people are bearing the brunt of it, and now people who are consider themselves those who don't agitate are the ones who are on the streets and in the courts. So ultimately, it's all going to break loose and happen. But the ultimate aim is the common school system, which the most developed economies in the world have had. And to monitor government schools, if you don't have your children, if you have children, send them to government schools. If you don't have children, intervene in a government school and see that the delivery mechanisms in a government school as a citizen, whether they are according to whatever little provisions of RT Act are, there are many things that one needs to do.
Sangeeta, where she's offering a clarification and just raising it. I'm asking a question about low fee schools from the point of view of what is happening to those children and their parents. Without work, they're expected to pay fees, and then they already paid up probably this year and got into debt. So thinking about what's going on with the urban poor who had migrated to low fee schools, will they return to government schools? And will this increase enrollment in government schools? And will this lead to closure of low fee schools on a larger scale?
Yeah, thanks, Sangeeta. It is actually BMC's own data shows that within their own schools, about 30% children are not returning from those who've gone away. And as far as the low fee schools are concerned, while there is no data available, the situation of those children are similar. And those are people who were I mean, we have only unprotected job, casual laborers who went back. So there is no guarantee that these children are coming back. And we've been in touch with some of the children who went back, the children who study in BMC schools. And they don't have access to data, leave alone, but they do not even have food to eat in the villages. So the situation related to education is even grim. SSA and RT talked about tracing children, tracing migration. Those measures have never been implemented ever, and the National Commission of Child Rights, who's supposed to be a monitoring body, has never looked into these issues. So while we talk about all these things, we have to raise questions also about the NCPCR and SCPCR, how they are totally like Kumbhakarna till something terrible happens somewhere and just do few case studies.